Most people are good at starting. They start workouts. They start routines. They start plans with energy and confidence. But finishing? That's where most people disappear. They lose focus halfway. They slow down near the end. They stop when things no longer feel exciting. You became different the moment you learned how to finish. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but consistently. You noticed something important. Starting gives motivation. Finishing builds character. Anyone can. Feel excited at the beginning. Beginnings are easy. They're full of hope. They don't require endurance yet. The middle is where reality shows up. Fatigue, doubt, boredom, resistance. That's where people leave. You didn't. You stayed long enough to complete. In the gym, this lesson became clear. The first sets feel good. The body is fresh. The mind is sharp. Then comes the later sets. Breathing gets heavier. Muscles feel tired. Focus starts slipping. That's where quitting feels reasonable. You didn't quit. You finished the set, not because it felt good, because it mattered. Finishing taught you discipline. Discipline doesn't come from intensity. It comes from follow-through. You trained your mind to complete tasks even when excitement faded. That skill transferred everywhere. You stopped leaving things unfinished. You stopped quitting when progress slowed. You stopped restarting instead of continuing. That changed your results. Because unfinished work leaves gaps. Gaps weaken momentum. You close those gaps. You finished reps. You finished sessions. You finished weeks. Each finish strengthened trust in yourself. Self-trust grows when you keep promises. You kept them, even small ones. Finish one more rep. Finish the workout. Finish the week. Those finishes stacked. Over time, finishing became automatic. You didn't need hype. You didn't need pressure. You needed responsibility. You learned that quitting early doesn't save energy. It wastes effort. Half-done work still costs time and energy. Finishing makes effort worthwhile. That realization changed your mindset. You stopped doing things halfway. You stopped relying on motivation. You relied on completion. Completion brings closure. Closure brings confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum carries progress forward. Life mirrors training. People start goals but don't finish habits. They begin diets but don't finish months. They start self-improvement but quit when progress slows. You didn't. You stayed until the work was done. You didn't rush to feel accomplished. You focused on being reliable. Reliable people finish. Finishing isn't about speed. It's about endurance. You slowed down when needed. You adjusted. But you didn't abandon. That's the difference. You didn't confuse struggle with failure. You didn't confuse difficulty with danger. You accepted discomfort as part of finishing. Finishing is uncomfortable. It asks more than you want to give. That's why it works. Your mind learned that discomfort doesn't mean stop. It means you're near completion. That reframing gave you power. Instead of fearing fatigue, you expected it. Instead of avoiding resistance, you prepared for it. You stopped being surprised by difficulty. You stopped negotiating with yourself. You made finishing non-negotiable. That changed how you see yourself. You became someone who finishes. That identity is powerful. Because once you believe you finish things, you don't hesitate. You don't quit early. You don't doubt your ability to continue. You trust yourself. Trust creates calm. Calm improves performance. Performance creates results. People notice the outcome, not the process. They see consistency. They see discipline. They see strength. They don't see the small finishes that built it. You know the truth. Strength wasn't built in big moments. It was built in final reps, final minutes, final decisions. The moments where quitting would have been easy. You finished instead. That habit protected you from burnout. You didn't constantly restart. Restarting exhausts the mind. Continuing strengthens it. You conserved energy by staying the course. You stopped chasing new plans. You refined the one you had. That's maturity. Because growth isn't about novelty. It's about depth. You went deep instead of wide. You finished what you started. That's rare. Because finishing requires patience. It requires humility. It requires accepting that progress isn't always exciting. You accepted that. You stayed focused when excitement faded. That focus made you durable. Durable people don't quit when things slow down. They adjust and finish. You became durable. Now setbacks don't scare you. You don't abandon plans when things go wrong. You correct and continue. That's finishing energy. You don't panic near the end. You push through. Because the end matters. Finishing completes the loop. It turns effort into outcome. It turns work into growth. You stopped being someone who tries. You became someone who completes. That changed everything. You didn't need to be the strongest. You didn't need to be the fastest. You needed to be the one who finishes. And you were. Again. And again. And again. That's why your progress feels earned. Not accidental. Not temporary. Earned. You didn't rely on motivation. You relied on follow-through. You didn't depend on feelings. You depended on responsibility. You finished. And finishing builds strength that doesn't disappear. Because once you learn how to finish, you stop quitting on yourself. Just real strength built by those who finish what they start. Because starting is common. Finishing is rare. Starting feels exciting. Finishing feels demanding. The beginning gives energy. The end asks for discipline. Most people love the feeling of starting. New plans. Fresh routines. Big promises. They feel powerful in that moment. But power isn't proven at the start. It's proven at the end. The end is where fatigue lives. Where doubt appears. Where excuses sound reasonable. That's why finishing matters. When you finish something, you send a message to yourself. I follow through. That message changes behavior. You stop questioning your ability. You stop wondering if you'll quit. You already know the answer. In the gym, finishing looks simple. Completing the set when your muscles burn. Completing the workout when energy is low. Completing the week when motivation fades. Those finishes look small. They aren't. They build trust. Trust in yourself is built through completion. Every time you finish, you reinforce identity. I am someone who completes. Identity drives action. Once you see yourself that way, quitting becomes unnatural. Not because quitting is impossible. Because it doesn't align with who you are. Finishing isn't about pushing harder. It's about staying present longer. It's about continuing when excitement is gone. Anyone can start with enthusiasm. Very few can continue with responsibility. You learn that responsibility doesn't need emotion. It needs structure. You don't need to feel strong to finish. You need to respect the commitment you made. Finishing removes mental noise. When things are unfinished, they linger. They create guilt. They create frustration. They drain focus. Completion clears space. It creates calm. Calm improves consistency. Consistency builds strength. You stop chasing perfect sessions. You focused on completed ones. A completed workout is better than a perfect plan that never happens. Completion beats perfection. Every time. Most people quit because they want things to feel good. You finished because you wanted results. Results don't care about comfort. They care about follow-through. When you finish what you start, you build momentum. Momentum doesn't come from hype. It comes from closure. Closing the loop. Start. Work. Finish. That loop builds confidence. Confidence reduces hesitation. Hesitation slows progress. You removed hesitation by finishing. You didn't restart every time things felt hard.